as is evident by last week.
But San Diego's also playing with a chip, or I guess Los Angeles, because you fire a coach, you get locked,
right.
You get fired
You get that first game
dead
out of
cat
the
bounce
gate,
game.
Yeah. So we'll see. If Buffalo wins this game, I think it says a lot about their character because of where they're playing and what's going on with Los Angeles. So it wasn't going to be a blowout, Craig. That's for sure. So just sack Stick a couple of times, it'll be fine.
Chargers have the lead. Okay.
What?
Everything's fine. It's fine.
How much time?
All right,
is
you'll
left?
feel fine. You'll think of me tomorrow when Miami
5:30.
beats Dallas.
They're up 22-21.
5 minutes 30.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw up.
I'm gonna throw up.
It'll be fine. All right. Final count. 3, 2.
It's that time. Christmas time is here. Everybody knows there's not a better time of year. Hear that sleigh. Santa's on his way. Hip hip hooray for Christmas vacation.
What's up, guys? Our Wrestling Podcast back at you with another episode. This is Dave Vicious along with Just the Total Package, Craig the British Bulldog, and the Nature Boy Joe, bringing you our perspective on the world of professional wrestling.
Joe!
No inside sources, no ties to the industry, just stories from the diehards, sharing opinions with you. Today's topic, holiday review. For audio fans, give us a listen on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and Google Podcasts, or watch our videos on YouTube at Our Wrestling Channel. On social media, can you hook us up with a follow on Instagram at O.W.P 2019 or on Facebook at Our Wrestling Podcast. Guys, this is a week behind. We could blame whoever you want. That's me. But the holiday in reviews are always fun. Jess has a lot of action-packed things for us to talk about. So, Jess, I guess I'll just turn it over to you, man. What do you got?
I don't even know. There's no, so I'm looking at all the year in review stuff, and I'm like, when you've had a year that's been as on fire as this year, I don't even know how I pick anything. Like, I'm looking at match of the year. I'm like, can I nominate every match for the match of the year? Because so many, it's weird. Like, it's such a good place, and we say it every week too, and I get frustrated at people on both sides. People that are AEW cultists that want WWE to suck. I'm like, that's weird. That's a weird take to have. And then people that are WWE fans that want AEW to suck. I'm like, that's a really weird take to have as well. I think we've all learned in our 40s now, and I think I knew this a long time ago. Competition is so better, even if it's not close in the sense of WWE is just this machine that's never going to be knocked off the top, right? There's nobody. Vince has put 40 years into this, to festering into the small little flame, into a fire. So there's no way WWE is just going to be the biggest entity ever. But when you get somebody else that has a network show or whatever, AEW, for example, then, okay. You just automatically, you're like, that's their competition. I get if you're going to line them up side by side, there is no competition. I understand that. But you need a different you need leverage for men and women to be like, well, if you don't want to re-sign me for this, I'm going to go over here for this. And then sometimes that's healthy, right? We saw it so many times when we were growing up. I mean, I think we all started watching wrestling right after the territories were they're pretty much done, at that point in the late 80s. But we saw so many people go back from WCW to WWF, especially during the Monday Night Wars. It was all the time. So to me, I'm like, this is great. This is what it needs to happen. Men and women, Toni Storm may never have gotten the opportunity when she was with WWE to come up with the timeless Toni Storm like she's doing now. There's a lot of people that, or vice versa, Cody Rhodes he needed to come back to WWE because now he's fully realized who he is and what he's got to do and But he had
to make that journey, right? He had to make that journey.
He started that journey by leaving the WWE and making that journey and then coming back full circle. So everybody needs that. We always talk about it all the time. Rick Rude, to me, had a better career in WCW than WWE. Because I know he beat the Warrior for the IC title, but when we saw him in WCW, we're like, ooh, they're letting him be Rick Rude. They're letting him be a little bit edgier as a heel, a little bit. WWE, Vince was like, you're just a heel. You just make all the men mad because you pick up on the women. That's what you do. And Bobby Heenan's your heater. But when you went to WCW, it was like Rude got to be Rick Rude. He got to be who he wanted to be. So I think that's the theme of this year's year-end awards. We're celebrating Christmas here. This is going to air a day after Christmas. So Merry late Christmas to everybody. And then New Year's is right around the corner. So I was writing all this down. I asked you guys, we're going to we're gonna all give our offerings up, right? Wrestler of the year, pay-per-view of the year, or premium live event, what do you want to call it? Comeback of the year, blah blah blah. But I was like going through it, going like, I don't know how. There's some of them like, can I have a 5-way tie like on some of these topics? Because I'm like, I don't know, man. It was a fun year to be a wrestling fan, especially the last 3 months. Blew my socks off, just right off my feet. And so, I mean, like, I don't know what 2024 is going to be. I might pass out, might throw up. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
it's been a great year. There's been so many moments.
Lucky.
We are very, very lucky to have so much content and so much good stuff and product happening.
I don't think we'd ever see this again, Craig, to your point, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think in both WWE and AEW, I mean, this year has been, I feel like every pay-per-view is, I don't want to say better than the previous one, but like it's not like there's a bad one.
They all were different. Each pay-per-view is a different feel, and it got better, but it wasn't the same as the last one before. Yeah. Because the storyline was progressing, and AEW does that well too. They've had a rough year. AEW,
the last storyline will contribute to the next. So I won't get too much into the examples because we're going to get into our favorites. I know it's on the docket, but if you asked for the best tag team in WWE in 2022, it would be the Usos, right? I think that's pretty much that's okay. Yeah. If you talk about 2023, it's not. But if you talk about the storyline, it's connected to that greatest tag team of the Usos.
Right, and that's the beauty about wrestling.
It connected to a storyline to connect to another and move. It just didn't just fly off the handle out of nowhere, and then the next night somebody was different and it didn't matter. And we're like, Vince would change stuff on a house show for no reason, and somebody else was champion. And shit got weird, and now stuff actually makes sense, and there's a story to the next story to the next story that Triple H is telling that Vince lost so long ago.
So we're going to do our own year-end awards, but it's going to be our own personal favorites. I want to preface all this by saying some of us only watch WWE, some of us only watch WWE AEW. I know there's New Japan Pro Wrestling out there, there's Impact, there's NWA, there's a bunch of stuff. So just, handicap it to where, I know some of our answers we don't know. Somebody could be listening to this and be like, but Okada did this. It's like, I know that, but I didn't watch a lot of New Japan. I only watched it sporadically or whatever. So keep in mind, don't be like ashamed of your picks if you only watch one promotion. Watch one promotion, it's fine. Everybody can contribute, but I'm gonna go backwards.
Ow.
And I'm gonna do
sharing opinions with you.
That's right.
I'm gonna start with let's do best promo, and by best promo I don't mean best single promo. I mean best on the mic. Best promo. Who do you think in 2023 had the best promo? All of their promos, when you saw them, you're like, you know what? They're just hitting it out of the park every time. Every time. That's this category. Do you want me to lead?
You can start, because that's so hard.
Mine's obvious. Mine's MJF.
Okay.
If you want to go with the narrative that AEW doesn't know what they're doing and they are having issues, I'm not saying they're not, but the fact that he is kind of without direction and then he continues to be dominant on the mic, and when he's out there, he's a presence, and he's doing it all as a face right now, for the record. So I think MJF, to me, is promo or micman or whatever you want to call it of the year. Because every time he gets out there, it doesn't matter, even if the storyline's kind of confused or muddled in AEW, he's got to get out there and push it. I've not seen a bad MJF promo, even with him as a face. He's supporting the storyline. You wouldn't know if he agreed or disagreed with the storyline that he's doing right now in AEW, because he's so good that he gets out there and just does his job and hits a home run every time. And so my promo man or best person on the mic, man or woman, to me, is MJF this year.
That's Grand Slam. That is the Devil's Den. That is the home state. So start spreading the news, because MJF is coming back to New York, New York. And I can assure you, whoever wins that Grand Slam tournament's gonna find out the hard way that nobody is on the level of the devil.
Anybody agree with that?
Yeah, the MJF was mine.
MJF was your guys'. What do you have to add to that, Kragers?
Just the fact that he's just kind of carried, he carried the mic. He's just so good, whether he's trying to be heel or he's trying to be that tweener or he's trying to be the face and thread that needle. He has just had an incredible year on the mic. I think he had even and to the point where he had one maybe disappointing joke or line that did not hit, and everyone was like upset with it for the year. So that's what the expectation for MJF on the mic when he comes out is just absolute fire. And 99% of the time, he absolutely he nails it. So what a year for him on the mic.
So I'm
the only person that I'll do it quick. The only person that I would say may have come close or have done it better, and I'm just doing it to be different because you all agreed, is Seth Rollins. You can talk about Roman and all that stuff, but Seth is the best version of Seth that we've ever seen. Every performance that he gives out is fantastic. He's had a really tough go of getting a title handed to him that just conveniently calls the U.S. title on Raw all the
TV
time
title.
because I'm sorry, the TV title that works too. But Seth has done so much
funny.
with so little and has lost to Cody 3 times, the year before, and has still managed to remain relevant with the audience to where he doesn't even have to speak. You understand that, right? He gets out there and he just boom, and they will chant his song for a minute and a half before he even has to get in there. He doesn't have to do anything. He's got that crowd eating out of his hands each and every week on Raw. And at first I said the only thing that kind of bumps that is when he talked to Punk. I felt like he was very defensive when he talked to Punk. When I went back and rewatched it, though, I was like, no, he actually did he actually laid that out perfectly. And I think Craig felt that way the first time too, and I disagreed. And I don't know where my mind was when I went back and rewatched it. I was like, no. Punk.
They're going. We're in the first because Paul Heyman likes to use baseball terminology.
Right.
We're in the first inning with them, so they're not going to try to hit a home run like right out.
They're
the
not
gate.
gonna. They're not gonna touch
They're
until Mania probably. But what I'm saying is like I think that Seth, as far as mic work, I'm not gonna say he's the best wrestler because that's labeled for something else down the line. But the best mic work to my mind right now goes to Seth Rollins at this point, and it's very close.
Hope you know how incredibly fortunate you are to even be standing in this ring right now. But could you just do me just one little favor, just one thing, please? Don't you dare call this place your home.
I like contrast. So the next year, I'll jump into the next category. Most improved wrestler of the year.
Ooh,
there's a lot of different things that can go into this one. That can be somebody last year that just didn't hit on all five. Maybe they used to be good and they went through an injury phase.
I got a weird one
whatever.
too, I think.
So you could do it too. I'm gonna start off with somebody that nobody probably knows, but I do watch. I get all the NWA pay-per-views.
Okay.
And my pick for most improved is Camille in the NWA. She was NWA Women's Champion for like 2 years, and like they did a whole undefeated thing, and now she's going to leave, and I really hope that she ends up in NXT because she is not perfect yet, but her improvement in an independent promotion, because let's face it, that's what NWA is, is amazing to me. And she's tall, she's got the look, she's got like the Jade look, and she's going to be a star, and she's almost already there.
Didn't WN already confirm that she had ceased talking to AEW, which pretty much confirms that she's going to WWE? Or did I
think so. I don't remember. I think she was talking to a couple different places. She might just end up doing her own stuff. Who knows? But yeah. I would love to see her go to NXT and keep going. She is going to be a huge star. I know it's kind of a dark horse pick for me, but that's my most improved wrestler of the year.
I think that's a good
Camille
pick.
from NWA. She's
pick.
really good, and she's only going to get better.
Mine is completely different as to why, because this guy is extremely talented in the ring, but I want to talk about what he's done with his title and what he's done on his mic work, and I'm going to go with Gunther. I think Gunther is the most improved, and I know that's a weird pick because the guy is an animal, but when you look at a couple of things of what he's done, he's completely transformed his body over the past 2 or 3 years. That's one. So much that we were at WrestleMania Texas, and Jess was the only one that recognized him in the bar. Is that Gunther? I'm like, no, there's no way. That's not Gunther. And it was.
He lost so much weight.
He lost so much weight. He looks incredible. But the other part I think that people are missing on Gunther is that he holds his own on the mic work lately, especially with the likes of Miz, which is not easy to do. The Miz is a master on the mic. He's not number one this year, but he's been doing it for 20 years. And they held a decent campaign because Gunther is walking that line of no one can touch me. And even with the heavy accent, we can understand him, which is very difficult to do because It's not his first language. I'm not trying to knock that, but he is doing an excellent job of making sure that everybody relates to him, that everybody can understand him. His mic work has gotten so much better over the years, and his ring entrances are phenomenal. When he comes down with Imperium and he throws the jacket in a way and it spins and they catch it just perfectly. Nobody's doubting the ring work of Gunther or Walter, whatever you want to call him at the moment.
That's interesting because it takes a lot to adapt to get to the main roster, and a lot of people, I think, overlook that.
They're
and
overlooking
I think Gunther has
Gunther
done
on
that seamlessly. Like, he started out kind of like, what am I doing here? They changed his name and everything, and then he's just kind of like, okay. Like, and he learned how to adapt to the main roster.
And he is so fun to watch right now. He is so impressive, and not just in the ring, but everything out of it. He knows the part. He plays the role, and when I thought about Most Improved, that's the first person that popped in my head because I'm fascinated. Like, if they trust him to break Honky's record and probably to crush it and smash it so no one touches it for probably 2-3 decades, that's something to behold. They hold a lot of trust in Gunther, and I look forward to 2024 with him. See what happens.
Craig and Joe, what do you guys think? Most Improved Wrestler of the Year.
I think mine's going to be a little kind of odd because it's not so much that this person improved in the ring. They were always talented. I just feel like the improvement has been in the, I guess, construction of their character, and finally, like, the character is exactly kind of where it should be. And it's kind of funny because I feel like this person is also could be, a candidate, like a top 5 candidate for like Wrestler of the Year in some fashion. But I think Most Improved, I feel like, because I look forward to watching it, I look forward to the development, is Rhea.
Rhea Ripley. Ooh, yeah.
Just I feel like like there was a long time where she was kind of floundering of like what exactly her character was going to be and whatever. She was obviously always talented in the ring.
Yeah, that's a good one.
This year obviously saw her win the women's title from Charlotte, and kind of I think in the months leading up to that, you saw her go from kind of being a small part or like a part of the Judgment Day to becoming kind of a major force in that, to the point where like people were talking about maybe this person should take, like, she should be leading the Judgment Day. She should be the leader. And I just feel like I guess improvement might not be the right necessarily word because her talent was always there, but just I guess a concentration of the character where it seems like laser focused now. Like she's doing exactly what she should be doing with that character at every time.
She knows exactly who she is.
Right. From where it started at the beginning of the year to where it is now, it's like firing on all cylinders.
Joe, there's a line that Jack Black says in a movie. He's like, "You son of a bitch, that's so good. It should have been mine." Yeah, I think that's where some of us are right now.
That's a really good one. Craig,
it's a really good one. Nice work.
My guy kind of started with the moment at WrestleMania when you saw him. Like, he had a good 2002, but he really 22, but he had a great 23, and then he really found his own and really became a big workhorse. And it was the moment when he kind of came out for his match, and he was in the back of a police car, and he had that like little moment of when he
that might
had
be
the
one of my favorite
handcuffs on.
WrestleMania entrances ever. By the way, I thought his entrance was like so fantastic.
Yeah, and then from that kind of, you think of the year start as WrestleMania, really, like you just kind of have to. So that moment, and then since then with the Judgment Day, going to NXT, almost carrying show to show, just doing whatever is asked of him. Yeah. You want to talk about a guy that's carrying the flag, and it's just leagues above what he did in 22
more
with
than
his
anybody
dad.
This year, more matches than anyone this year.
Dom Mysterio, Most Improved. So
Dom Guerrero, thank you.
Dom Guerrero.
Seriously, from everything from the mullet to his style to seriously.
Yeah, actually, I think that's probably the best. Most Improved. I really, like, he has just hit a home run and like been so pleasant to watch and like. But he
understands
that prison entrance to me. I said it live when we were there. I'm like, this is the great, with all the grandeur and the Undertaker coming
really
out
good.
and the fireworks and people dying and like all that stuff. Those are fun entrances too. But like just watching him come out in the police because the months leading he got arrested because he wouldn't leave Ray's house and all that. So genius. And he's like a hardened criminal. He was trying to act like he was so just the best. And coming out of the paddy wagon was just so hilarious and like the best thing. Yeah.
And that was just the beginning.
Yeah, I totally agree with that too. Jess, could you agree with the last two selections that Joe and Craig put? We already put them on such an echelon that we forgot that they had changed so much in a year.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I'm saying? Year. Like, I can't believe we didn't think of it and not in their own like, oh, you son of a bitch, it should have been mine. That's all I'm saying. Like, I already kind of put them on this upper echelon where it's like you're not improved. They're in.
You kind of I disqualified them from that, but I'm like, you know what? No, this
you're right. Based on the timeline, you guys nailed it, man. I can't believe that.
The next one is a little tricky, right? Because what I did was I sub like division this too, and you guys didn't know it, so I'm sorry. I wanted to separate, so I asked for comeback of the year, right? But I want to separate that from moment of the year because I think that a lot of people think that a comeback might just be someone's entrance and they come out and they're back. And that's comeback of the year. What I mean by comeback of the year is somebody who came back, whether it was from injury or just from a long time off or whatever, but they still like went to a top level and still was unselfish. And I'll lead it off here. I think comeback of the year is John Cena. Because I think that John Cena is underappreciated. We've all talked about it before. And I think when Cena came back earlier in the year and jobbed out to Austin Theory, and then when he came back because of the writer's strike, he came back for like a 3-month period, and he was really good. And listen, you could not like his wrestling style. You could say he's got the big five, and that's all he does. And I think
a lot of people
for
have
most
that,
people, by the way.
Yeah,
I think you say that for most people. But John Cena, this comeback to me was comeback of the year. Disqualifying it from the big entrances, like the one person we're all thinking of, and then Randy Orton and all that other stuff too. It's too late in the year to know if their comeback, in my opinion, has been successful because you don't know yet. We haven't really seen either Orton or the other person that shall not be named until later. Will be his body of work will match. I'm not doubting Orton. I'm just saying we haven't seen what they're going to do yet. But I think John Cena, since he came back, kind of twice this year in a weird way, has been unselfish, has been like tried to get up there. He's trying to get into ring shape. To be off and not be in cardio, not just cardio shape, but cardio wrestling shape is very different from any other shape you could be in. And he just came back, and to me, like he just jumped back in there. So I think John Cena to me is the comeback wrestler of the year. I think he's wonderful.
That's a good choice. I didn't think about Cena really, and I can't believe I overlooked that.
It is a decent overlook. I went completely opposite when you said comeback of the year because I think I'm saying what everyone else is thinking. And by the way,
it's my fault for springing that on you guys at last minute. By the way, because
that's
in my mind,
I'm still
without telling
you,
I separated comeback from moment.
No, but
people might say a moment and be like, "Oh, that's comeback of the year." I get.
I'm still gonna go with my pick based on, and I'll put Therapy ahead because I think this guy had the best and the worst comeback of the year, all in the same year, and that's obviously Punk, right? CM Punk had the best comeback. When you talk about, and I did take it from just a moment, Jess, to your point.
Well, he did come back to Collision this year, didn't he?
He sure fucking did.
He did.
And he had the best and the worst comeback. And when I say that, and this is obviously a detriment to AEW because I've been talking about this probably too much until I'm blue in the face. People are probably sick of it. The listeners that do listen to me probably hate it. Like, can you stop talking about it? But Tony Khan and AEW just don't know how to like squash things and make a ton of money together. And WWE knows how to do that. Seth Rollins has talked major shit on CM Punk and made a big spectacle in the comeback at Survivor Series and made it look like they had true beef. But all that is probably squashed before it even happened, even though they kept it completely quiet, where we knew CM Punk was coming back to AEW months before, only to have a really detrimental lack of success and a whole possible lawsuit, and I fear for my life. Just abysmal comeback. To say that someone had the best and the worst comeback in the same year, I think is warranted and will never happen again. And that person is CM Punk. To your point, Jess, has he even wrestled yet? If he has, I haven't seen it.
No, I know he hasn't. I think he's on the house shows first. Actually, I'm going to see him probably this weekend.
You'll see him.
Madison Square Garden on the 26th.
He's on the
day after
Madison Square
Christmas
Garden card. Yeah.
Oh, so he'll be dead.
So they're switching it, right? They advertised Dom versus Cody in a last man standing
They're
match,
gonna
but
move
they're
that.
switching it. Now it's going to be Cody versus Shinsuke, and it's going to be CM Punk against Dom.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome CM Punk!
Fans have waited 9 months to find out when or if CM Punk would return to AEW. Tonight, Kevin, we get some answers.
I don't. That also speaks to Dom as most improved wrestler, because why would Punk even want to touch him if he didn't feel comfortable? That says a lot. So just going back to your
Dave,
to your
I think you nailed the topic. I forgot that he came back after his suspension
wild, isn't it?
injury.
Isn't that
I forgot.
wild?
Yeah.
So I just that's why I picked it, because I think he literally had the best and the worst comeback.
That's
all
actually a
the same
really
year.
good pull. Joe,
I think
what
it's
do you think?
stupid.
Sorry.
I'm gonna go with and this is gonna seem kind of like an odd pick because he didn't. I guess technically he started out the year by coming back, but I'm not really talking about a comeback in terms of a leave of absence. I'm talking about more of a comeback in terms of how his story progressed throughout the year and how he came back from, with that lack of a better word, like adversity to the storyline. Because I think a lot of people, a lot of performers out there wouldn't have been able to kind of take that loss and take that the way the story went and been able to bounce back as well. But I'm going to go with Cody. So Cody starts out coming back from the injury at Royal Rumble, wins the Royal Rumble, and then really has a completely and utterly disappointing WrestleMania in terms of a lot of people's eyes. Like really, he lost. Where does he go from here? I think a lot of people were like, "What the fuck?" How does he finish the story? How does he do this? How does he do that?
A lot of people were pissed, bro, and so far.
Can
he's done.
Can he
He's
come
done.
back from this pretty devastating loss on the biggest stage with the family in the front row and all this stuff? It was almost kind of embarrassing. It felt like at a point for a lot of people.
What do you talk about? The fan threw the rubber chicken in. He's like, I had to lay in the ring with a rubber chicken by my head. He was talking about that. After.
But then kind of the dust settled a little bit, and they come back, and he starts getting his promos back in. He gets into the feud with Brock. Does that awesome?
So good.
That awesome sequence with Brock, and then is kind of. Not even as good as he's not even as popular as he was before WrestleMania. He's more popular and more over by losing than he ever was. Because I think that if he won at WrestleMania, I think that the fans would have turned on him. And I think that him losing and kind of teasing it out and allowing him to kind of pick himself back, at least in terms of the story, to pick himself back up off the floor and kind of get going and to kind of retake his position as number one face. I think that says a lot about his character and a lot about what he's doing in the ring. So I'm gonna go with Cody.
Joe,
turns out, Dusty, Dustin, and Cody are all amazing, and they happen to be father and sons. That's crazy to me.
I still say Cody's.
It's crazy the high level that they're on. Dustin, I don't think it's appreciated enough, but I get it.
That's true.
But Cody,
ahead of his time.
For him to channel his dad and also channel Dustin and kind of combine both them into one, he's the perfect mesh of Dusty and Dustin. Every time I watch him, I'm like, Jesus,
Joe,
obviously they're related, but I'm like, God, you look like them. There are mannerisms that he does. I'm like, God, you look like Dustin right there. But then he does a lot of Cody stuff, and I'm like, wow, okay, so we just have a star on our hands. It's crazy.
Yeah, 100%. And Joe, you made such a good point. If he had won, they would have turned on him, and probably losing, in hindsight, was the best thing for him. And he probably had the foresight to say, "Oh, I'm losing. Oh, good. The story can continue. It's easier this way, because when you're on top, it's a lot harder." I would say Roman might have the toughest job right now to do what he's doing, and not even appear some nights. And he's still doing a great job, by the way. Roman's not any on my list this year, but let's not on call what Roman's doing as fantastic. But could Cody have done that after WrestleMania? I'm not so sure, and maybe he could have. But Joe, maybe Cody and only a few others could understand, like, oh, this is a blessing. This is going to be great. We can run the story even longer. And he did. He did fantastic. Such a good comeback call, because I forgot it was at Rumble when he came back. It was right in January. That was right in 2023, right when it started. That was such a great pull. Awesome.
Greg, what's your comeback, huh?
Mine's Christian. He came back in 2022, but he got injured for a big part of 2022. So the Jungle Boy stuff and his rise didn't really happen until 2023. And so Christian, like, he joined AEW in 22, but like this year is, and especially the last 5-6 months, the Jungle Boy stuff, the Luchasaurus, like the daddy stuff, the promos, like he has really come alive and been a huge focus of AEW, and everything he's done has been gold. Now holding TNT and then now feuding with Edge. But that was just kind of this year.
So
like
good.
I think it was all supposed to happen last year, and I think he was out for a while. But this year, to me, like Christian became just more like, okay, Christian Cage, but like a guy that's really.
That's such a great choice, and I think that it couldn't come at a better time, because AEW needs somebody like Christian right now.
Oh yeah.
And at the same time, they timed out Adam Copeland coming in with them, and they are best friends. So it's like there's not a better person to
outside of
to
MJF
jive off
carrying it.
Christian.
Just it's Cage right now for a lot of people.
Christian's wonderful. Like
he's
he's so good.
fantastic.
Man.
He is so good.
Always in character. The dude is yoked and has like 8-pack abs, but continues to wear a tank top.
Kansas City, keep the noise down while I conduct my business. Kansas City, you should be happy that you have a champion that you can be proud of in your midst. Because unlike your Kansas City Chiefs, I don't need any extra help to get my wins.
Craig,
yeah,
did you used to
turtleneck.
wrestle? Did you used to wrestle?
Exactly.
love it.
Go back and watch Christian's like stuff with the media
Give me a cool
scrums.
star rating. Give me a
Oh
cool
my
star
god.
rating.
Yeah.
But everything
So
he does,
good.
the stuff he's doing. What's the kid's name?
He's a good boy.
And the
I know
kid's
that.
mom.
He's a good boy.
Everything he touches is absolutely gold. It's wonderful. So
That's awesome.
That's
I'm
my
gonna
dad
cut
is
out.
dead.
I'm gonna cut out promotion of the year, because I think we're all gonna agree that WWE is promotion of the year.
Yeah,
And I don't
yeah.
say. I don't
actually
say that because
Stardom
they're.
for me. I'm just
I
kidding.
don't say that. I don't say that because they're the biggest, but they're on fire.
They're hitting on
everybody-
all
what-
cylinders. I mean,
the reason why I
everything they
wanted to
do.
disqualify
There's not a bad match. I don't.
The
care.
reason why I
You
want to
can
disqualify
argue
this topic was, look, I look forward to AEW overcoming what they needed to overcome in 2023, so I look for 2024 to be better for them. Impact's made some good stuff. We talked about Impact might be
Sure.
partnering a little bit with WWE. They got a good deal. So I like that a lot. NWA is supposed to have a TV deal, so there's a lot of good promotions, but WWE's number one. We just got to say that.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
fine.
trying to steal the thunder. I'm
Move
trying
it-
to
move-
move it along. But
100% agree. Move on.
now I'm going to go to the topic that I'm going to vomit. Match of the year. I'm going to throw up. I don't know. Can I say all of them and just go to bed right now?
Can
Because
I
don't know what to do.
can I just start you off with a crazy one and
Yes.
let you guys pull it apart?
Yeah, because I don't know. I think I'm going to pass out in a second. But yes, go ahead.
I'm just gonna throw it out there because it's fresh in my mind, and I didn't have any problem with it, and it's always better for some reason than the guys. The ladies War Games match Survivor Series is my favorite match of the year.
Oh
I
wow.
didn't think about that. That's good.
That's a good one.
It's
And it was good,
so,
by the way. Like, it
it's
was
so
wonderful.
amazing. You're a good joke.
That's why I'm going to throw up.
Yeah, I don't have anything bad about it. Everything was good, start to finish. There was no issues with it. Even when they have trouble bringing things into the ring, they take their time. The trash can move by our world champion EO, took her time, just handled business. The finish was not what you expected either. I would argue that the last 2 years that they've had this, the women have stolen the show from the men in that match.
He's standing on the top of the cage with a trash can. She's the genius in the sky, but this is ridiculous. Oh my God! Io
God damn it! I don't want to do this. Okay.
You're gonna
I
be wrong
chose-
no matter what. Just throw something out there.
You know, I really don't want to. I want to go to bed. I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna go with Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay at AEW Forbidden Door
Fuck,
on
that's
June
mine.
25th, 23.
That's mine.
There you go.
It was
You got two of
goddamn
you.
amazing.
Must be
But
right.
There's so many. I don't want to say other matches because it might be one of your picks, but like the Iron Man with MJF and fucking Daniel Bryan. I don't know what
Can
you
you not
say
bring
about
up,
that.
take my picks, please?
I'm gonna throw it all over the place. Yeah, I don't want to steal. So I should have said anything.
That was really safe, Joe. Really
we
safe.
were there live for fucking Adam Page and fucking Swerve and Jesus Christ, and I'm gonna throw up. And I don't know. Like I'm gonna go with Omega and Ospreay because I'm gonna lose consciousness.
What's
right
wrong?
Now.
What's wrong with any of it?
There's nothing. I'm just upset, Dave. Is what I'm trying to say to you. And then like the tag match at WrestleMania, Rhea Ripley and Charlotte. I can't breathe. I don't want to do this anymore. So that's my thing. It's Omega and it's Ospreay. AEW Forbidden Door, June 25th of this year.
Yeah, that was also mine. And the one question I had, Jess, is when we have a text thread, obviously. So are we still doing moment or we're not doing? Because I'll bring my moment plus this match.
We
now,
will
'cause it's
do
important.
moment. Yes, we will do moment. Yeah.
Then I will hold on it. Because the moment and the match is different for me. So my match was Omega versus Ospreay Forbidden Door with everything.
I showed Joe. I think that was the match I showed you in the hotel when we were there for Full Gear, Joe. And I don't know. Like, I'm watching them, and I'm like, I don't know how you're doing any of this. Like, and I've been watching wrestling for a long time, and I think that's part of the joy. Is like I don't want to know. I want them just to take me on that ride. But I was watching that whole match. Even on the other times I've watched it, I'm like, I don't know what you're doing. Like I was, but in the best
how
way
do you
possible.
do that
like,
without rehearsing it for
fucking
2
doing
months?
This. Like,
I don't understand how you maybe meet each other the night before because he just came from Japan. Like, how do you do what you do without touching each other?
And I don't know how you both fucking understand this. And
because they're
ridiculous. Like I don't get it.
But there's a ballet and a synergy and a balance. Like it's fucking incredible. Like how do you do it? Like I don't think
there's professional dancers. It's weird. Professional dancers. If you've done it to the highest level, you can match up with anyone and have very little mistakes. I mean, they're the highest of their actual caliber of level.
Ospreay was a
world.
skinny dude in like 2018. He was just like the same. Like
he's
the
still
muscle he's packed
He's
on.
still a
Like
skinny dude.
He's not. I mean, he's not
how
Hogan-esque. He's not
he's
300 pounds.
progressed.
Joe, what's your favorite? I might know what you're gonna say.
Well, until you said something, it was MJF and Bryan Danielson at Revolution.
What's wrong with that?
And you were there live, Joe. You were there live.
Yeah,
Joe
so I think part of me. I mean, there was obviously a shit ton of matches, which you guys have already said. The Rhea and Charlotte match was amazing at WrestleMania. The tag match was great, but and I'm probably partial to this event because I was at the event, or this match because I was at the event watching it, and I guess what the reason why it stood out for me even more so was that I went to the event not knowing what the main event was. So when they came out and said, we're doing a 60-minute Iron Man match, I actually was like, fuck off,
And let's
really?
preface this, Joe, with because you were just kind of getting your feet wet with AEW. You didn't watch it regular. You got tickets, so you're like, I'm going to go.
I'm sitting there, and they announce it, and I'm like, and all I can think of is the boredom of Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 12 or whatever. And I'm like, oh my God, this is going to suck. Is this going to suck? And I could not take my eyes off of that match. I think it ended up being 5-4 for the. It went into overtime. It ended up being 5-4 falls, which is way better than it being 1-0 or whatever.
Right.
Going to a draw. The fun, the awesome little things that they did with MJF kicking him in the balls and getting DQ'd and losing it and then pinning him twice in a row.
So good.
Was like, holy shit, what a brilliant fucking...
I'm going to change my answer. Joe, take yours back. Mine is the Iron Man match at...
and the top of it had really good seats, so I was like, yeah, this was awesome.
I was so jealous of you. After that match happened, I was like, you were fucking there. And you're like, I was. And I was like, God damn it, that was such
and what's crazy is there was a shit ton of great matches on there. The Hangman Page and John Moxley match was amazing.
God damn it.
In that.
It was.
Where he had Moxley ends up
I don't want to do this.
Page hangs Moxley by the throat by the chain. It was like unreal. It was unreal.
Yeah, I don't even know. That's how lucky we are. Like I am stressed out, like when I'm talking about match of the year in this particular 1 year of my fandom, where I'm like, I don't even know what to do. And then when you guys say something, I'm like, that's all true too. I'm a fraud, and like I don't want to do this anymore. So match of the there was no shortage of fucking matches of the year this year.
No,
I mean, I like
not
at
at
every
all.
pay per view, I think there was one like that was a contender, like where I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, well that just shits all over my like who I thought was going to win match of the year, but I love it. The next one, let's do premium live event or pay per view of the year. I know a lot of us are limited. Some people only saw WWE shows. Some people only saw AEW and WWE shows or whatever. But I will go. I think AEW Revolution that Joe was at, to me, was like my favorite show,
Yeah, I missed
like
that one.
overall all year. That was on March 5th, 2023. But I am going to say that my runner-up is probably WrestleMania 39, because night one was really, really, really good. But I don't know, man. Again, this is like another one where I'm like, I think
we were
every
there
show,
for that one too, so it's definitely kinda
right.
like-
I think every show I saw, like Full Gear was fun to me. Like all of it was.
You
really,
don't
really
get
good.
to
But
pick two.
Okay, sorry. AEW Revolution. AEW Revolution. That's what I'm
Okay.
doing. Go ahead,
What
Craig.
do you got, Craig? Tell 'em.
WrestleMania Night 1.
Well, it's so funny because
It's
I
true.
only wrote one runner-up, and I was like,
Yeah.
God damn it, night one was so good. Like
I was just airing because that was mine, and that's the only. There was something about being there live, and you guys have actually been to 3 big PLEs this year together. So like, I don't know what you guys are gonna say, but like for me, like there has been so much good stuff. But for there in the moment with you guys sitting there, like night one WrestleMania, seeing the stadium for the first time. It was incredible, and like the culmination
Great
of
show.
like it was just incredible. Loved it.
And
That
the
was mine.
tag championship changing that night was a
Oh.
big deal.
Rhea and Charlotte was
yeah,
that night.
yeah.
Dom getting out of prison.
I had a different pick. I mean, I'm very very biased to Survivor Series War Games because I love the layout. It's like one of the few things in WCW they carried over lately that I love, and I was going to pick that one. But Craig, I think you convinced me to agree with you. I think that WrestleMania Night 1, when especially at the end and how it was just that oh my god moment, like this is amazing, and watching Sammy and Kevin just topple a regime of a tag team champion duo of the Usos, and every match is on point, and Rhea came into her own, as Joe said, as most improved.
We were hugging
And that's-
strangers at the end of it. Like
Yeah.
we really were
like
in the
high-fiving.
aisle in the concourse. We were just hugging
And
strangers.
you could argue that we were really pissed about the Roman thing on night 2, and then we kind of understood it later. But night 1 just killed night 2 as well. I mean, it was the better night, which
Yeah.
usually doesn't happen.
By a
And,
long shot. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
I'll agree with you. I'm crossing mine out. I'm gonna go with night 1. I think you're right. I forgot, and you brought it back to the top, and yeah, fantastic. What a
That's right. The three
what a
of us
night.
did night one. Right, the three of us. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Joe disagrees. No, I'm.
Joe at the 3.
No, I was Revolution.
Yeah, so
I think
you disagree.
Revolution was the best
I love that card.
event that I saw. I mean, notwithstanding the fact that that I was there and like it was this my first AEW event and like a pay-per-view event anyways. But it was just I remember like in the text thread and it was like, oh yeah, the trios match that's gonna steal the show, and it was great.
Oh,
and
that's
then the
right,
next
they're, like,
match was like,
back to
oh,
back to
actually
back.
this might
Yeah.
be still in the show. And it was great. And then it was like every match was even the match. There was I forgot what match it was, but it was after the Moxley Hangman Page match, and it was like this is a great match. It's like if Hangman and Moxley was a 9, this is like a 7.5, but it feels like a letdown. But I'm like, no, it's still 7.5. Like it's still fucking awesome. And then the ending with the Iron Man match, just solid from
didn't feel like 60
know,
minutes, did it, Joe? At all.
It didn't. It blew by. I mean, I was
Yeah.
I was stunned at how fast an hour went by, or an hour.
And
Actually,
you were like
hour and
10th
10
row or
minutes.
something, right? Like you were.
5th.
Come on, last minute ticket buys. We can't even get into that. That's a whole other story.
That's what happens when you buy tickets 45 minutes before the show
Yep.
begins.
I'm gonna try that in San Diego on the day after Jess you go to Los Angeles. I'm gonna attempt that same feat
For Raw, right?
for the family. See if we can get them super cheap.
You'll get good.
What do you
It'll
got?
be a good show. So next, I'm gonna do kind of a category that I don't know, kind of fell flat this year. Tag team of
Tag
the
team?
year. You know, last year
I couldn't think of one actually.
but I don't know. Maybe it was so divided this year. That's why I still pick FTR. But because the Usos lost to WrestleMania, and then but again, I don't want to take anyone else's idea, but Sammy and Kevin did well for the majority of the year. I feel like tag team division was a little more fragmented this year than it was in the previous years, where you could say, oh, it's the Usos, or oh, it's FTR, you know what I mean? So I'm just going with FTR to default because I love their work all the time. But I know you guys are gonna have great other picks. But
I go in totally the opposite way, and this is not because I disagree. It's because I watch WWE, and it's Judgment Day, 100%. They have lost them and won them back already, and they're starting to show their prowess with the Gold as a faction. We don't have best faction, but if we did, it would be Judgment Day right now. They are on top of the world. They are the best tag team of 2023 at this moment, and WWE for sure. Usos are now dismantled. They're not even together anymore. They're not even a thing. And the Judgment Day is as strong as it's ever been. My hope, I don't think it'll happen, but I hope they go. What's the rule I'm trying to think of, guys? Freebird rule.
Freebird rules.
Where Dom can get in on that and do some tag team wrestling as well. That would be, because it seems like he's starting to. It seems like the North American title has now left him at the moment, right? I don't think he won it back. So that would be a lot of fun if they could change that out. I would love for Triple H to bring that back. I don't know if they'll do it, but he might be really, really hardcore on, no, these are the title holders. But that would be my one little wish in the bag for 2024. But Judgment Day, you better put them on your calendar, because they're gonna be in your life a lot if you like wrestling for 2024. It's gonna be fun.
It's a great choice, huh? Joe, we got tag team of the year?
I mean, I kind of agree that the tag team scene was. I think that's a good word for it. Is flat. There just wasn't. There wasn't a lot of. There wasn't a lot of, because the Usos had them for so long, they just kind of didn't really develop anything, and it seemed like it was a little hodgepodge with, Kevin and Sammy, and then the Judgment Day, even as good as they are, everything just seemed a little flat. Obviously, FTR is a great selection. I think just storyline, and it wasn't necessarily because they had the best matches or the they were the greatest tag team per se, but I guess just from a storyline and projecting other storylines was probably MJF and Adam Page.
Yeah.
Or Adam Cole, you mean?
Adam Cole, sorry, Adam Cole.
Yeah, no, I didn't even think of that. Fuck, they got big reactions and that's true.
I mean,
I didn't even think of that.
It was kind of it was kind of a throwaway thing just to kind of project, we'll give them the Ring of Honor titles, You
can argue it was desperate.
Just kind of a progression to promote the storyline, their eventual breakup, their eventual,
And it sucks he got injured, because I think that.
I mean, it was unfortunate he got injured, but I liked what they were doing. They were a lot of fun to watch. I don't know. I mean, I think it could have been a lot better, but I think out of the tag team scene that happened in 2023, that was my probably most notable.
That's a good one. I didn't even think about that.
Mine is FTR too. I think no other tag team dedicates themselves to the craft more than FTR. Dax had some singles matches this year that were great, but he just can't get away from what he really wants to do, and that's just have fantastic matches, top guys with cash. So everything they did and this year was fantastic. So FTR, I just want to keep supporting them.
Yeah. That was my default answer, because they're always
it has to be. No one else is devotes themselves to it. It's just they really just want to everything they do. And I even think that was I think the Briscoes in FTR was 2022 too, so that's not even in this year. So it's but everything they've done.
We're gonna do. So I said wrestler of the year, and I mean man or woman. I didn't want to do women wrestler of the year because I feel like some of the women stars are just as impactful as the men are, and I feel especially after the big year that Becky had, she was wrestler of the year to me that year, because she captivated an audience, she held main events down or whatever. So that's why I feel I didn't want to split it. Maybe I'm wrong for doing that, but But yeah, like this year, I wanted to preface that by like we could work in the women whenever we want because and put
I
in for
mean,
matches.
Rhea is a 100% a contender for just straight man, woman wrestler of the year. She's top 5 for sure.
But so we'll leave moment of the year because I think that'd be good to end the episode. Is like just our favorite moment that we've seen. So that'll be last. So let's do wrestler of the year. And should I just lead off? I guess mine's obvious. Like to me, it's still MJF. I don't know of any wrestler all year that it doesn't matter how good or bad their promotion's doing or what kind of press they're getting. Like he pressed through. I can't stress that enough. Like how successful his face turn, which in the beginning I was like, I don't know, and then like when they did it, I was like, wow, he's that talented. Chris Jericho said when he came back originally as the Devil, I think it was last year because he left for a contract dispute and he came back. He said, you do know you should be a babyface, right? MJF's like, no, I'm not gonna be a babyface. I don't want to do that. Jericho's like, dude, the trajectory of you're a babyface. You're going to be a babyface. And he's like, what? And then like when they did it with this Adam Cole thing, I was more shocked at right away about how everyone's like, absolutely. And I was like, whoa, like, and then MJF was still so good that he still made us all believe, yes, he does the same things, but Austin was the same when he was trying to get over it.
Is it the closest to
Austin was
we've
the
ever
same.
seen?
Your opponents just change, and all MJF has to end his promos with is, but I'm your scumbag now. And that changes everything. And so I think to me, he's been wrestler of the year. The Iron Man match, every match he's been in, the Switchblade match that we saw at Full Gear. And then, by the way, for the last like 4 pay-per-views, he's been wrestling twice because he does the Ring of Honor tag titles or whatever.
Right.
He's been, I don't know. I mean, I have a runner-up, and I'm not going to say it because it'll probably be one of your choices. But like it was close to me. But like MJF is my wrestler of the year choice.
I'll pass it off quick for everything you said because I have nothing to really add to. MJF is the wrestler of the year. He's the
best.
As we said, Moxley carried it in 2022. MJF has carried AEW in 2023.
Yeah, easily.
100%. Easily. So you guys take it from there.
Yeah, I wanted to pick someone else, and my second choice, I just couldn't. You couldn't do it because of the part-time schedule. But yes, it's MJF. Like for me.
I think before we got on this call, we were talking about the NFL stuff and like who's MVP candidates and things like that. And I think the number one thing about the MVP candidate, maybe wrestler of the year, is if this person's not there, how does their promotion look? And I don't think that I think for me that's why it stands out. It's MJF. There's a lot of other candidates out there. You can but if those people aren't in their division, in their promotion, the promotion isn't affected that much. I mean, it's affected a little bit. Like you take out a Cody, you take out a Seth, like it's gonna be affected. You take out but it's not as detrimental. Like that guy carries that promotion. Everything is on his shoulders. And
right.
I mean, and again, we brought it. Somebody brought it up earlier, comparing him a little bit to Austin. Like it's Austin in '98. Right, it's like without him there is no promotion.
Who almost couldn't wrestle, by the way.
Yeah,
I'm scared.
By the way, like
MJF.
my runner up was like a 3-headed monster. My runner up was Rhea, Cody, and Seth. And I didn't know how to fit them in, and like I was like all 3 of them were amazing and carried their divisions and everything. But
you put
MJF,
Roman in that top 5. I know people are mad that Roman doesn't wrestle that much. I don't care. Like the guy is just like
Gunther was probably like the 4th runner up. Like he's really good, and like there's like even Sheamus. I don't know about wrestler of the year,
but to Joe's point, if you lose Roman, a lot of things just crumble. He would definitely be on that Mount Rushmore for 2023.
I mean, you kind of almost have already lost Roman. I mean, he's only what? How many appearances does he make in 2023? 12?
I understand what you're saying. It's very much it's Hogan-esque. You definitely see him 4 times a year sometimes at the major events.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Roman has a gravitas that nobody else has.
Yeah,
right. I mean,
PLE matches.
He could be gone for 6 months, but
appearances
and people are just like.
Yeah.
Sorry, Craig. What did you say? I'm sorry, I cut you off.
PLE matches and title defenses, I think he only had 4 or 5. But as far as appearances on SmackDown on the build-up, he was there for a lot of the main ones. And it's enough to carry it and to sell tickets and to be enough to still carry the Federation. Which when you don't
have to touch, you can just talk, and you can sell those tickets for next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
he's in that top 5 conversation. But I still say to almost everybody here, it's MJF. I mean, that guy he has carried a company to another year. I'm not saying that AEW would fail and be gone, but it would be really tough to work without him right now, as it was last year without Moxley. If Moxley wasn't there when Punk took his hiatus and they strapped everything to Punk and everything went wrong, Moxley saved them. Now MJF is saving them now, and I would argue that MJF is not only saving them, he's propelling them. He's making it to where we don't say the things like, oh, if this fails, the company fails. No, we still say AEW will survive, but it's because of how stable MJF is and how he can create stuff for everybody else, and how he can, like you said, it doesn't matter if he's a face or a heel, he can propel the audience to buy a ticket next week and the week after and the week after. It's incredible.
I'm ready to go spend $800 on a Burberry scarf,
It's insane.
So, Ali,
Right?
we are we hit the hour mark or whatever, so maybe we'll extend the game. I hope that doesn't offend anybody. But
we'll see.
We'll end it with the moment of the year, like I think, and kind of like this episode's like a hybrid, like Christmas / New Year's. End of this year, beginning of 2024.
I'm
Maybe we leave it on
repetitive.
the moment of this year that is burned in your memory, that you're like, okay, that you always think about. Like, that will represent 2024.
Mine's repetitive, so I'll just say it's Punk. It's Punk's.
It's hard to dispute that.
That's because I already talked about it earlier. It's Punk.
My moment of the year is, and it feels like it's 2022, but it's not. It was the end of 2022, the start of 2023. It was Zayn and Owens over Usos Mania, night 1. It was that kind of like, he didn't get to do it at Elimination Chamber.
Such a great moment.
When he beat Roman, but I just remember like that culmination of that entire year for Sammy with the bloodline, and then Royal Rumble turning on Roman and hitting with the chair. Like, I texted people that didn't give a shit about wrestling, and they still didn't care, but I explained to them the importance of that moment. Like, and that weekend, I was like, and then it was a culmination of a year-long blah, blah. Like, to me, it was just the moment to me that
That's
ended
a good point on your part.
year.
It just got lost because it was at the beginning of the year, but what a moment.
Yeah.
When he hit him with the chair, like, that place was shaking. Like,
Yeah.
it was great.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And he didn't do it in his Montreal hometown, and I was like, holy shit. But like, and we had to wait till Mania at the end of night 1 for him to like do those kicks and have them beat the Usos. Like, that was the end of his story. And he's had a disappointing 23 kind of, Sammy. But holy shit, what a 22 beginning of 23 he
He's
had.
kind of untouchable now, is how I see it, though.
Three's the one. Cover. The bloodline being damned. Here are your winners and the new undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. An incredible outpouring of emotion. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens win their tag team titles for the first time in their WWE careers.
Yeah.
He already won Top Gun, so he can be an instructor now. It's fine.
Yeah. But that was my moment. I mean, it's
It's a good one.
Jess or Joe?
I'll do, I think Punk might be the right answer because it was pretty shocking and that place was loud and all that good stuff. But
Nobody knew.
to me, maybe I'm just going to do it because I want competition and I don't want to side with the obvious. But I think AEW All In London was such a moment to me to see a non-WWE promotion put that many people in a stadium and in a market that WWE hasn't really been brave to try in a long time. And I mean, now they'll smash it, they'll hit it out of the park when WrestleMania finally goes there because obviously they put the seeds for that in. But I mean, like, I just the look of it, to see a non-WWE promotion, but whatever you want to believe, right? I'm gonna do the 80,000 figure because I think that's right. But I mean, but that's the fact that we're debating that a non-WWE company went to England and put over 70,000 people in that stadium. It looked amazing. It was a good card too, by the way. Like, it was one of my runners up easily for pay-per-view of the year, but it just didn't quite make it. But the spectacle, the moment to me of seeing them achieve that, I was like, this is great. because it's good for wrestling. And then WWE's on fire, and they're going to make their own records. They've been breaking records every goddamn month like this year, But to me, I'm like, give the bone. The moment in my brain is what I was so excited to watch that pay-per-view because I just couldn't wait to see what 70,000, 80,000, whatever you want to say, looked like. What that outfit looked like on someone other than WWE. And because, we always see that at WrestleMania. SummerSlam now, they do stadiums. Royal Rumble, they do stadiums now. To me, I'm like, what does it look like with somebody else? And we saw it, and it was awesome. And it's a great, if you're a non-AEW fan, you saw that for the first time, it looks so professional and so important. You're like, wow, okay. And so, to me, that was my moment, that opening shot of all of those people for a company that was not the company that got us into wrestling to begin with, which was WWF. That's my moment.
It's good.
I like all three of those moments. Those are awesome. I wholeheartedly agree with all those moments. So I'll end with it wasn't monumental. It wasn't like somebody coming back, whatever. It just kind of. I thought it was a comedy of errors and made us laugh, and maybe because we were there to witness it, made it even better. Was Shane McMahon blowing out his quad, and then Snoop having to save the day and do the people's elbow on the Miz.
Well done, Joe.
Joe,
it was
so
great.
good. Did he even miss a beat though? The ref's like, here's what you're gonna do.
The crazy thing is he didn't miss a beat.
Snoop's like, I don't give a shit, whatever.
Shit. Okay, I'm gonna do the people's elbow.
It was awesome. God, what a moment! That was so funny.
That will go down in infamy. They're gonna talk about that thing in the decades.
God, what a recovery, man! And the cameraman told Snoop, he's all like, "Hit him."
Yeah.
That's how
I'm sure he was getting it too, and the ref was getting the earpiece work, and here's what's gonna happen. He's like, what? All right, shit, let's do it. Like what? And if Snoop messed it up, what was gonna happen?
Seriously,
Nothing.
he's 60 years old.
Nothing.
It was brilliant. It was fucking brilliant.
He didn't miss a beat. He was like, I've done this a million times in my bathroom because it's big enough.
In my head, Snoop's done this.
I love that. That's so good. It's fantastic.
What a good episode. What a good year. We're looking forward to 2024. It's going to be fucking just as amazing. It really is.
Why is anybody crying about anything? I don't get it anymore. Maybe it's because we're
What
getting older.
What are you mad about?
When I hear people
bro?
bitching or they're like, "Good, you're gonna go out of business soon," I'm like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? They're gold every month somehow is coming from somewhere. It's like we can't stop the gold from showering us. It's like I don't understand. I'm like, why aren't you? Because they're not real wrestling fans. That's why people who think like that they want destruction and they want their way to be the only way. And it's like, no, listen, man.
Well,
we sat here for the last hour talking about multiple different promotions, but even the top two were giving us all of these wrestlers and these moments and these efforts and these. And I don't want to shame anybody else under them, all these runners-ups, because a lot of these categories were super close, to me. And, and if I did watch more Impact or New Japan Pro Wrestling, I'd probably have a little bit of a different mix in there. But what a year. God damn it.
Well, Jess, some fans are more privy to golden showers than others, to your point. For audio fans, give us a listen on Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and Google Podcasts, or watch our videos on YouTube at Our Wrestling Channel. On social media, can you give us a follow on Instagram at O.W.P 2019 or on Facebook at Our Wrestling Podcast? For the O.W.P, this is Joe, Jess, Craig, and Dave signing off.
Say goodbye to 2023.
Woo!
It's that time. Christmas time is here. Everybody knows there's not a better time of year. Hear that sleigh. Santa's on his way. Hip, hip,